Hey, go, people! Oh, shit, here we go. I gotta do some comments. There's some actual pretty good comments here. I mean, there's a few hate. I didn't respond to the haters, but let's clear up. I mean, look, I do these to try and educate you pesky citizens so you understand where cops come from, so you don't just run around and sound like uneducated fools when you say, man, cops are all crooked, they can't do that, they don't have a warrant, and you really don't know what you're talking about, because it's not true. Now look, the laws change, case law changes, and there may be some new things. Somebody said the laws change about questioning kids. I haven't seen any case law that changes. When you give your kid to a school, you give them care, custody, and control of your child. That's the government. They have power, and I can go question your kid. If that changed, I wish somebody would give me a case law. I hate when people come here and tell me how wrong I am and how they know the law, and yet they can't give me a law or a case or nothing that backs up their unsubstantiated telling me I'm an idiot. But whatever. Let's get to some questions, because I did some, I put some comments on some of these, or discussions on the comments for this. Okay, so this is where they went into the mobile home. A car was parked on a business. People were living in it. Everybody's saying it's a home, it's a domicile, they've got castle doctrine. There's no way you can enter that without a warrant for that property. I disagree, and let's get some comments. So in order to get the comments, if you get a comment with a question mark or a laugh out loud, that means I was kind of tagging it. So now when I go to response status and I want things I responded, every place I put a question mark now will be right here. So this is why I got that. So if you get a comment and I put a question mark, I'm not asking you a question. I'm just merely trying to show this. So let's go through this. Okay, so here we go. I put laugh out loud. Okay, do not seem to like it when civilians say bad things about cops. Just shut up. Once a cop, always. Okay, so this guy obviously doesn't know me, but whatever. He wants to hate anybody that was a cop, and he doesn't realize that I'm actually trying to help you freaking dumb, pesky citizens, but he would rather stay a dumb, pesky citizen and just live on his hate. Maybe it keeps him warm at night. That's all right. All right, let's see here. The police did possess a warrant based on probable cause to search the tavern. He's saying tavern. I think they searched an auto parts store or something. That was a target. When appellate happened to be when the warrant was executed, or where the appellate tend to be when it was that. But a person's mere proximity or other independent suspected criminal activity without, I think that should be, to others independently suspected of criminal, does not, without more, give rise to probable cause to search that person. Okay, you're wrong. But Rick, he gave you a cite. Okay, let's look at his cite. In this cite, it talks about a New York police officer on patrol observed during an 8-hour period a man whom he did not know. Okay, they had a warrant, they had probable cause, they ran it by a judge and a DA, so this isn't the same. Had no information about, that's not the same. But Rick, they didn't have anybody in the van about, you're correct, but I'll explain that. In conversations with 6 or 8 persons who the officer knew as narcotic addicts. Okay, so you see a guy talking to 6 or 8 narcotic addicts. Most cops with 2 brain cells are going to go, this guy's either an addict himself or he's selling or supplying these guys. But Rick, you can't say that. He could just be giving them money so they can get a bowl of soup. Okay, you're right. Could be. Later, the officer saw the guy in a restaurant with 3 more known addicts. Okay? The officer on none of these occasions overheard any conversation or saw anything pass. Okay, so that's true. He had no other information except seeing him meeting with a lot of addicts. Is that probable cause to arrest? I would say no. But under New York stop and frisk, if a cop, I don't even think he needs probable cause. And again, I may be wrong. I don't know the stop and frisk. But I think if they just suspect you of being engaged in criminal activity, they can stop you. And if they think you're armed or might be armed, then they can pat you down. And I think that's what basically stop and frisk is. Could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just giving you my opinion here. Later, the officer ordered the suspect out of the restaurant where the officer said, you know what I'm here for. When the suspect reached into his pocket, the officer reached into the same pocket and found some envelopes containing heroin. Now, this is a big problem here because a pat search is I can only go on the outside of a person and feel for something that looks like a weapon. So if a person has this underneath their clothes and I feel it and I'm like, what is that? And they go, it's a naked woman with boobs that shake. And I go, man, that could be a stabbing incident. Let me see what that is. I can go in and get it and confirm it's not a weapon. But if I feel something like an orange or an apple, I can't say, what is that? And he goes, apple. And I go, that could be a weapon. Now I got issues. So you need to understand the difference between a pat down, I'm feeling for something that's a weapon or that could hurt me, and a search, I'm actually going in to grab and retrieve something. Those are the difference. Now, if I feel something that might be a weapon, I can go in to better articulate what it is and then pull it out if I think it's a weapon. If I go in there and it feels like a bag of marijuana, and I know what a bag of marijuana feels like, and it feels like a bag of marijuana, now it's contraband. And because I was where I was authorized to be, because I was determining whether or not it was a gun or a knife or a stabbing instrument or a razor blade, because I went in, I'm where I'm authorized to be. Therefore, anything I find, I can seize. You may not like it, people. I'm just telling you what the law is. Also, when the suspect reached into his pocket, that could be considered a furtive movement or a reach to either grab evidence, destroy evidence, or go for a weapon. That will give an officer more, if he articulated that way, to go in and stop that hand and to see what he's grabbing for. Okay. He was charged with unlawful possession of heroin. The trial court in a motion suppressed the heroin for illegally seized, holding that the officer had rejected, the motion to suppress. So the first court said, no problem. The heroin that was illegally seized, bullshit, holding that the officer had probable cause to make the arrest to seize the heroin. It doesn't say what the probable cause was, but that's what the court ruled. Then the suspect pleaded guilty, preserving his right to appeal. The suspect, who was precluded from obtaining bail, spent 6-month sentence, roughly 2 months in jail, before his appeal case be heard. His conviction was affirmed, meaning another court said, we agree with the first court. That's why when people tell me, man, I know the law, you don't know what you're talking about. The law doesn't mean shit. One court said it was great, another court said it was great, another court overturned it. Okay, his conviction was affirmed in immediate state appellate court. Then New York initially sought to justify the warrant. Appeals apparently viewed as authorized to search. The law provides that police officers may stop any person in a public place whom he reasonably suspects, that's not probable cause, is committing certain crimes. And because this guy was probably a narcotic officer, he has special training, because he saw him talking to a lot of addicts, and because he's busted a lot of people who supplied people and addicts, that a lot of people who supply them meet with them. That's a common, nexus to the crime. But anyway, when officers suspect that he was in danger, he may search a person. Again, this probably goes back, the court goes, when a guy reached in his pocket, I didn't know he was going for drugs. The defense attorney probably go, well, my client was reaching in to give you the heroin. Well, then why are you trying to suppress it? If he was going to give it to me, we don't have a problem. So he can't say that. So when the subject did an affirmative movement to reach for something, it is reasonable for an officer to go, whoa, don't be freaking reaching. I don't know what you're reaching for. I don't care what you're reaching for. I don't want you pulling shit out of your pocket when I'm contacting you on a criminal investigation. So the court, probable jurisdiction, district attorney confessed error. I didn't get all this, but anyway, this case to me isn't anywhere near a case where you get a search warrant. Let's go back to the comment. Okay. Independent did not give rise to probable cause. Okay, whatever. I disagree with you on this one, dude. But thanks for the cite. Let's see. They had permission of the garage owners to be on the property overnight. Okay, so this person is making the argument that because the owner of the property said you could stay here, therefore they become a separate entity of this search warrant. So in this person's mind, and I'm just making a point on why the law is the way it is, if at my house I invite, Black Lives Matter over before a big rally the next day, and they find out that some of the people have guns or knives or whatever, and we have all these people here, and they want to come on and search my house because I'm providing the illegal stuff. When they get a warrant for my house, every car on my property is part of that warrant. And the warrant would read something like, I believe that Rick is committing a crime of providing people about to go to a Black Lives Matter rally with chemical agents, explosive agents, guns, ammo, whatever I'm looking for. And I believe that he has multiple people staying there and using his place as a place to conspire to commit crimes, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, we want a warrant to search the entire property and everything on that property, to include buildings, outhouses, garages, attached and unattached structures, any vehicles, trailers, parking lots, or any other things on the property. Basically, we want to search any and everything on this property. And the DA goes, that's reasonable. You know, we'll give you the warrant. The judge signs it, and now they get to come on. It doesn't matter if I gave somebody permission to be here. It doesn't matter. They had a warrant for that property. As long as the parking lot is part of that property, and they will prove that through, you know, does he have to pay for the stripes? Does he rent it? Does somebody else on it? He rents the spots. Does he pay rent for it? Therefore, he's responsible for controlling it. As long as they connect those parking spots to that building, they're golden. Not to mention they all got limited immunity. Rick, that's not fair. And you're just a cop and you just love cops and you're just telling you the law, people. All right? Look, you can't expect cops and blame them when they try to follow the law. These cops were doing what was in the law. Now, the law doesn't say how nice I have to be or what a jerk or asshole I have to be. They don't say that. So I understand that people may say, well, they could have done this better. I agree with that. I'm okay with that. But you need to understand, as a cop, when I go into a drug warrant and the DEA or FBI or ATF, whatever, says, hey, man, we're serving this warrant. We need some bodies. Can you give one of your task force or teams? Because our task force be like, you guys do a lot of entries. You guys do a lot of searches. So a lot of times when somebody's doing a warrant, they would call us, say, hey, we're doing a warrant. Would you mind come and help? Sometimes they would have us make entry for them if it was a smaller agency and they didn't have a lot of practice making entry. Sometimes they would use us for the perimeter. Sometimes they would use us for chase cars in case somebody pulled in and then they saw the cops and they pulled out and took off and then we chase them down. So to help another agency, you have to understand, in a warrant that I'm making an entry on, everybody hands up on the ground. Don't reach for shit. Don't be running. Don't be arguing. Don't be trying to get in my face and ask for a warrant. Don't be coming up to me and trying to tell me you know your rights and push on me, because you're going to go to the ground and you're going to go to the ground hard. I'm sorry. Rick, you're a big boot jack. Look, warrants are freaking dangerous things when you're going in there dealing. You know, you people see these warrants to where people hold up the hands and you see these family and you see these kids, and therefore you think all warrants are like that. Well, they're not. I mean, I go in houses to where there's 15, 20 people and they're scattering like cockroaches, grabbing bats and grabbing bags and grabbing book packs and putting on their pants and jumping out windows. And it's complete chaos. And you people are like, well, if you didn't show them the warrant, they don't have to do anything. Well, that's because you're an idiot. Rick, you can't call them idiots. I'm just telling you, you're being a freaking idiot. That's not the way a warrant works. And if you don't like it, then change the laws or elect people that don't want to give government more power. But right now, when a cop does a warrant and he enters that freaking house or premise, everybody gets detained. Everybody gets searched, patted down for weapons, or laid down. Rick, that's not fair. You're violating. Whatever, people. I'm just telling you how it works. If you want to go serve a warrant with a cop and you want to play Mr. Nice Guy, then I'm going to predict that you're going to be stabbed or punched in the face or in a hospital after 2 or 3 warrants. If you're serving warrants in shit areas like we used to do in our task force, if you're serving warrants on fucking, Walmart for a receipt or a warrant because you need a tape of something, well, that's different. This is a drug warrant. And again, a lot of people are thinking they're looking for drugs. It can be a drug warrant and I may not be looking for drugs. If this place, if this business, if they raided a house yesterday and they didn't know about this business and we raid the house and we seize all these drugs and money and receipts and cars and we see they have all this property And we go, shit, they own this fucking business. We didn't know that. We need to go get a warrant for this business. So when we go in this business, we're looking for other drugs, drug-making materials, receipts, possible storage area. We may find in there that they have all the stuff to make the drugs or to buy the drugs or drug packaging material. They may not even be looking for drugs. They may be looking for booking receipts to show where their income is coming from. How are they making $500,000 a year at this auto parts store and their bills only show they worked on 5 cars? So again, everybody's jumping to conclusion that they were looking for drugs and they had no right to go in this house and it's not fair. And Rick, you're just taking a cop's side because you love cop. Look, whatever, people. I'm trying to get you to understand from a cop's perspective and the law's perspective why we think and why we do what we do. I'm not justifying tyrannical, abusive shit. I'm just saying when a cop works within a law, I'm going to back the cop because I think it's a tough job. And when you're trying to do the right thing, then you ought to get credit for doing the right thing. I don't think these cops that bad. I never saw him punch him. If he punched him, it would be what the guy was doing. Was he reaching? Was he reaching for his pants? People are like, man, he was trying to put his pants on. He got hit. When I go in a business, when I go in a place and I don't know who you are and it's dark and there's bodies everywhere and I yell, police, search warrant, put your freaking hands up, don't reach for shit, and you reach for your pants, guess what? I don't know you're reaching for your pants. I don't know what you're reaching for, and I just told you not to freaking reach. And instead of shooting you, if I run up and punch you in the face so you put your hands up to protect yourself, I'm okay with that. Rick, you're a big bootleg. Whatever, people. I'm telling you. All right, here we go. I'm being honest. Most cops aren't going to tell you this shit. They're going to try to sugarcoat it and go, it's very dangerous, and the officers are always worried about officer safety. And I'm telling you in reality what it's like, people. All right, they had permission from the garage owner to be on a property that night. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They were on a property when a search warrant was served. Like I said, if you show up to a house and you got no idea to do anything, and you just pull up and you walk in with a Christmas freaking turkey because you're helping out this family, and the cops hit this place with a warrant because somebody in there has a freaking felony warrant, or there's drug deals, or they've been following this guy for conspiracy, or he's on a run, he's a parolee, whatever, guess what? You and your turkey are probably going to be pat-sorted on the ground, and you are going to be identified so we can figure out whether you're friend or foe and whether you're involved or not involved. And if you're not involved, you now become a witness. We have information so we can contact you in a period of court to say, this is what happened. Okay, like it or not, I'm just telling you the way it is. People quit beating me up for telling you the truth. That's why nobody wants to tell anybody the truth. Nobody can speak the truth anymore, because if you speak the truth, you either get censored by YouTube, you're told you're passing false information, so nobody wants to speak the truth. Everybody wants to talk around and say, according to the law, the officers were acting inappropriate to policy, and direct all further questions to our transparency division. Whatever. All right, here we go. What Rick says at the end of it is very important about warrants. I agree with commenters about it not being right, but Rick said it's important. We can think all we want about being right or wrong. The best thing auditors can do is keep filming cops. I agree with this. They should keep filming cops. I love auditors that film, because that gives us evidence, that gives me material so I can explain from a legal perspective whether I think they're doing right or wrong, and if I think they're doing right, why I think they're doing right, and if they're doing wrong, I can say why I think they're doing wrong. But again, just watching a video, I never have all the information, but I can come to some reasonable conclusions. I mean, that's what I did. That's what cops do. When I go get a warrant, it's a reasonable conclusion. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 facts, and it leads me to believe this. And I take it to a judge, and the judge goes, here's your warrant, go search and destroy, whatever. All right. Just keep filming the auditors, then Rick can see them. All right, I agree with that. This is what happened when everyone is a potential threat, and what they say about people is arming themselves. Why can't you say that? Wait a minute, let me read this again. This is what happens when everyone is a potential threat. What they say about these people, who are these people? Are we talking about white people, the Jews, cops, the government, DAs, judges? Who are these people? Oh, maybe he's talking about the people in the van. I don't know. I have to guess because it's not clear. That they could be arming themselves. Who can't you say that about? Well, you can say that about anybody. This is the mentality of occupying force where cops largely are now. So I think the point he's trying to make is, in my comment, show me the man, I'll show you the crime, is we've given the tyrannical government and the enforcers of this tyrannical government, the police, they are the enforcers of our tyrannical government, no matter what you say. We've given them the power to ignore the Constitution so much that everybody can be a threat and everybody can be a potential criminal. That's a problem. I agree with that. But I also agree that if you want cops to go on a warrant, you can't be going in there going, hi, police, can we please come in? We have a warrant and we'll give it to you and you can argue with us and we'll just stand out here while you're flushing all the dope and while you're gathering their arms and cleaning guns and jumping out the back. We're just going to stand out here and here's your little warrant, kind, pesky citizen. Read it and we'll just stand out here and then we'll go in and look for stuff that you didn't flush or run out the back door with. Is that okay? Is that the way you want crime enforced? Not me, but anyway. But I don't want it enforced the way it is tyrannical either. Okay, Ybarra versus Illinois, the 4th and 14th Amendment will not be construed to permit evident searches of a person who, at the commencement of a search, are on compact premises subject to the search warrant. Even when the police have reasonable belief that such persons are connected with drug trafficking and may be concealing or carrying contraband. Okay, I didn't read this one. I disagree. So the thing I think you're reading here is it says, it will not be construed to permit evidence searches. When I'm searching for weapons, I'm not searching for evidence. I'm searching for that term, officer safety, so weapons can't be used against me and you don't have nothing. That is a difference between a search for evidence and a search for officer safety. This says search for evidence. When I'm looking for a weapon that will hurt me, I'm not looking for evidence. If I find evidence, when I reach for the gun and a bag of dope finds out, I can seize that dope. Even though I wasn't searching for it, I can seize it. It's mine, it's lawful, and it can be used against you. That's the law. Don't hate me. Whatever. You can hate me. It keeps me warm. It's kind of cold here in Texas. Much easier this way. Thank you. What? Oh, this is for the lights. I thought I was only on the videos. Okay. The problem I have is they could have shown a search warrant if they had one. Okay. Well, that may be a problem for you. It doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm not going to go into a place that's unsecure with multiple bodies. I don't know who friend or foe is, and I need to start searching for evidence, and I can't do that till I make the place safe and secure. And if I don't make it safe and secure, then I'm being a fool, because I'm going to start looking through a closet and the guy's going to be sitting there with a gun and blow my face off because I didn't search, because I let him read a warrant so he could hide real good and get his gun ready. You have to show a warrant and you have to leave a copy of the warrant. The law does not state before you search or secure, you must give them the warrant and let them find it. I mean, that's not reasonable to me. Oh, here, I'm coming in and I'm looking for a receipt to where we just found $1 million worth of drugs in the storage thing, and we think that there's a receipt in here for the storage. Let me show you this. Okay, let me read this. Meanwhile, someone else in the house who heard you say that is now getting the receipt, flushing it, burning it, or tearing it up and flushing it. And you people are like, well, you should have let them see the warrant and read it first, Rick. Well, that's because you're a freaking idiot. All right? Don't be an idiot here. It's irritating. All right. The Supreme Court held that there is no probable cause to suspect any patrons of committing a crime simply, oh, wait a minute, there was something else on that other one that I wanted to carry. On the premises search, the police have reasonable belief that the person is connected with drug trafficking and may be concealing or carrying away contraband. That's bullshit. I can detain somebody on a search warrant so they can't get away. Hell, I've told a story where we had a search warrant and we had a guy call, and I picked it up and go, yeah. He goes, yo, man, is it cool if I come by? I need a bag. I go, yeah, come on by. And I hung up. And I go, dudes, let's hide. I got a dude coming over with some dope. So we shut the door, and here comes this dude. He knocks on the door, and we snag him and drag him in. Well, Rick, that was unlawful. Well, guess what? It wasn't unlawful. He's the guy that called, and we got him. Now, we had ID him. He had criminal history. There were other things. He had money. He might have even admitted, yeah, man, I was just coming here to buy, man. I didn't know there was a warrant. I'm sorry. Whatever. So, I mean, I don't believe that for a second, that if you believe somebody's carrying and concealing contraband and they're running or trying to leave from a warrant, you can't snag them. I don't agree with that. All right. let's see, where are we at here? Suspect or patron's crime, simply they are on a premises without indication that the person is connected to the premise for the reason that search is being conducted. Police cannot search and violates the 14th and 4th Amendment. The court also held that even an initial pat-down search is unconstitutional without a reasonable belief that the person is armed and dangerous. Okay, when you're serving a drug warrant and you're looking for drugs, it's almost assumed and presumed that there's going to be guns. Drug people have to protect their drug business. They have to protect their drugs. They have to protect their money once they sell the drugs. So they usually have guns and weapons. So it's already presumed. Now, again, this is saying it violates the search, violates the 4th and 15th Amendment if they're particularly connected to the premise for the reason of the search. There is a difference, where people get confused here, there is a difference between a search and a security sweep and pat down for weapons. When they got those people out of the car, did you see them searching the car? I didn't. And I don't think they did. And I don't think they have authority to search that car. Did they have authority to identify and grab everybody out of that car so they didn't get ambushed? Absolutely 100%. I'm sorry if you don't like it. I don't like it. But the law is I get to secure as a cop a premise that I'm searching on. Searching, I'm turning my back. I'm not looking to defend myself against unknown threats. Therefore, I have to make it safe. They made it safe. They got them out of there. They determined they're not connected. They got permission to stay there. They were just staying there overnight. Sorry. We're not searching your van. They didn't strip search everybody. They didn't make the girl spread her legs and start looking for dope in crevices. They didn't do any of that. They got them out, determined that they weren't involved, determined that there was no threat. They had all the officers there, and then they went on with their search. It doesn't look good, but catching crooks doesn't always look good, people. Wouldn't it be illegal for them to search separate structures for the warrant? Would not it be illegal for them to search separate structures for the warrant, yet legal if the mobile home was parked inside? Okay, so I think what he's saying is if the van was inside the structure, then he thinks they're okay. That's not the way the warrant reads. It says any curtilage, anything connected to the property, the entire property, including all cars, vehicles, manned structures, unmanned structures connected. There's a certain, you just, after you write so many, you cut and paste, and it covers freaking everything. Basically, you get the entire property. I mean, if you're saying they can't search it because they didn't mention a van, that would be like, I get a warrant to search a house, and when I go in there, I find a hidden basement, and I can't go in the basement, even though I got a search warrant, because I didn't say it had a basement, because I didn't know it had a basement. I just thought it was a house. Therefore, I can't search the basement. That's why you just wouldn't do a warrant. It would be counterproductive to, you've already got probable cause to get to the house. I'm not saying that I don't think tyrannical government is out of control and cops are out of control. I'm just telling you the way the law is, people. All right, where are we at? Rick, love your show. Cops perspective. People hate cops. I get it. But you always on your narrative explain the whole thing. I would like to see a podcast with you and Lackluster. Oh, I would do that. I would go on Lackluster if he wants to. Or he can come on here Saturday night. Somebody tell him I do a live every Saturday at 7. He can come on. I love how you narrate things that just because he has military training. I love how the narrator thinks just because he has military training that the procedures are directly the same. That's not how it works. The only thing close to these procedures are 5811's military police. Other than that, the rules are 100% different. I think military has much stricter rules to use force, and I think our cops ought to be under a stricter standard than our military. Our military doesn't go out and kill people arbitrarily and go, oh, sorry, he ran. Oops, sorry, we killed some civilians. Oops, we fired 50 rounds in a house and we killed somebody next door. Sorry, oops, we got immunity. I mean, I think our military has much more higher standards when using force than our cops. At the end of the clip, he said that they have yet to see a warrant, which tells me there wasn't one. That doesn't tell you that. I really doubt. I mean, I don't trust cops and I don't trust government, but I really doubt this police department would put on their Facebook page that we were assisting the DEA with a search warrant. If you want a copy of it, contact the federals. Sometimes search warrants are considered kind of a controlled document. There's been cases where I've worked, and when I do my briefing, there's nothing but cops in the room. And there may be, I don't know, 20, 30 cops in a room. So I'm up on their chalkboard, and I've got laces out. I'm going through the warrant. Everybody gets a copy, and we go over the pictures, who we're looking for, what the place lays out. I'm explaining all this shit. I'm briefing my warrant. At the end of that warrant, I will number each warrant I make a copy of. I'll number 1, 2, 3. And when you come into my briefing, you sign for warrant 1, warrant 2, warrant 3. And at the end, I want that freaking warrant back. Because there's dirty cops. There's cops that will go out and freaking go eat a donut, and they'll leave the warrant on the freaking table. And then next thing you know, sometimes I'll brief a warrant, and it'll be a pre-briefing for maybe 3 days later, or we're going to hit it in 4 days, or we're going to hit it tomorrow, depending, or it's called a warrant with I can't remember the name now. It's a I can't think of the name now. Sometimes something would happen before the warrant becomes valid. So I would say, look, we think that a guy driving a blue Ford, a black male, Hispanic male, white male, whatever. So we think this person driving a black Ford who's been identified as so-and-so is going to show up tonight for a drug buy, and he's going to be carrying 4 AK rifles in his trunk. And we believe this because of A, B, C, and D. However, A, B, C, and D really isn't enough to give us a warrant. So we want to sit on the house. And if this guy shows up in this car with the description, then we think we have probable cause and we want to do a warrant. But we don't want to have to wait for him to show up and then try to go get the warrant. So we're going to get this. You need something to happen. You need a trigger to happen before the warrant becomes valid. So we go and get a warrant and say, if this happens, we want to be able to go in and search and act. And we'll get the warrant. So we're sitting on the house, car pulls up, guy gets out, we go, that's our guy, the warrant's good, let's serve it. Boom, we go. So sometimes, you don't want warrants flying around and floating. Remember the DA, I told you that he was dating a meth head. He told his girl, hey, they're doing a warrant, be careful. We went in there, we found her jacket, and she goes, we knew you were coming, my boyfriend told me. That's what you get for dating a cranker. Anyway, that was a big deal, man. My buddy Matt, he was so pissed, he wanted to go they had to hold him back. He was going to beat the shit out of that cop. Anyway, or the DA, he was going to beat the shit out of the DA for leaking our warrant. Anyway, let's see. So I don't think they would put on that we had a warrant if there wasn't a warrant. But, I mean, they could. Rick, the husband, was in a soft memory foam bed. I don't know how she knows this, but okay. He had his hands up. Okay, great. It was impossible for him to get out of bed without using the hands. Okay, great. He was trying while he was asking for the warrant. Okay? Instead of asking for the warrant, maybe he should have said, hey, dude, I got my hands up. I don't want to get shot. I know you freaking cops are crazy and you're looking for a reason to kill people. I got to get out of this bed and I need to use my hands, or I need you to come help me and pull me up. And we'll go from there. Instead of, motherfucker, I got a warrant. You got a warrant. You better show me that motherfucking warrant. I got a motherfucking rights and you motherfucking in my motherfucking house. Where's my pants? Bam! I didn't know he was reaching for pants. So, again, totality of circumstances. I don't know what happened. I don't know how you know all these facts, but, I mean, if it's true, it's good facts. Let's see. That's when the cop punched him in the face. Well, I don't know. I didn't see any of that. I imagine it's very like an underfilled waterbed, AK stuck in your face. I don't know. Just added info I got from the wife. Oh, okay. She got this from her wife. Wow. Look, I got no problem with them being upset. I just don't think they have any standing for anything wrong, because I don't think the cops did anything wrong. They may not like it. They were at the wrong place. I don't like when pesky citizens get caught up with government tyranny for being at the wrong place. It's bullshit. If I walk in my buddy's house, I don't think none of my buddies are getting hit with a warrant, but if I work in my buddy's house and he gets hit with a warrant, I got a gun in my face and I'm thrown on the ground and handcuffed, I'm going to be pissed at my buddy for freaking not letting me know what the hell's going on and put me in this situation. It's kind of like if you go, hey man, can you give me a ride? I got to go take some money out of the bank. And I drive you to the bank and you run in the store and I'm out there checking my email and shit. And all of a sudden you come out, shots are fired, and you jump in and go, get out of here, man. I just robbed it. I'm going to be pissed even though I wasn't involved. But guess what? I'm still going to get chased, shot, or thrown to the ground, handcuffed, and arrested. So if you pick a place to stay, I mean, maybe they should have known, maybe they shouldn't. I'm not putting any fault on them. People may think I'm picking on them. People think I'm picking on Lackluster. I'm not. I'm just telling you how I see the thing from what I saw. All right. Let's see here. Whatever caused this, the cops are wrong, Rick. Okay. Rick, to the core, is a cop. Just saying. Cops are animals. Brainwashed mercenaries. Damn, man, I'm kind of crushed. I think I feel a tear coming out because this guy doesn't like me. Damn. Enjoy those retirement checks via legalized extortion, Rick. We'll leave that there. Dude, you got issues. Rick, how do we know the warrant allows to search the vehicles? Because it's just standard knowledge. You wouldn't go do a warrant and not put vehicles in because, okay, I'm gonna go do this warrant, and the crook keeps all his shit in the trunk or he keeps it in the car, and so now I get to the house and I'm like, man, that's a nice car. Look at all those packages in the back seat. I wonder what's in them. Look at that locked briefcase in the back seat. I wonder what's in there. I'm looking for receipts. I wonder if there's any receipts in that thing. Wow, I can't do the car now. I guess I'll go back, waste 2 hours, go do another warrant for the car, and then try and come back and wait and tie everybody up and tie up officers and cost the pesky taxpayers thousands of more dollars than we're already wasting anyway, so I can go get a warrant for this car. Hey, Rick, you shouldn't get them for all the cars. It should just be for that one car. All right, whatever. Look, you can think what you want, people. All right, you are wrong. It's a communal parking lot, not part of the unit. You just can't break into every car in a public unit. All right, whatever, dude. Again, show me your legal proof where I'm wrong. I mean, sometimes I ignore. This guy's kind of on the verge of being. This guy's on the verge of being. Where's the other guy that said right? This guy. So this guy loses all credibility. Whatever, Rick. Cop, animals, mercenaries, retirement check. You crook. What? So this guy's just so unreasonable. I mean, he's not being rude and mean, so I wouldn't block somebody like this. But if he starts making a bunch of comments that says the same thing, then I would block him because I just don't have time to waste time on shit like that. All right. How do we know the warrant said it's just standard? Okay, you were wrong. Again, I'm wrong. Warrants are specific. So did the warrant say that they could enter any building, vehicle, or yes. I don't even have to serve the warrant. I would bet you right now $500. Well, maybe 100. I don't know if I'd put 500 because I can't afford to lose 500. I bet you $100 that the warrant said all structures, all buildings, connected not buildings, all parking lots associated with the party, all vehicles in the parking lots. It's a car lot. It is a car business where they fix cars. Why wouldn't you want to search cars? I mean, you got a car business. How many people know a car business that parks cars they're working on in their lot? It would be so freaking crazy if some dumbass did a warrant and didn't include vehicles. So that's my point there. All right. What drugs were found? Maybe no drugs. Maybe they weren't even looking for drugs. Just because it's a drug warrant don't mean I'm looking for drugs. If I go to a safe deposit box because I know he's got money there, that's drugs that comes from drug sales or whatever. Maybe he's got gold, silver. I don't have to be looking for drugs on a drug warrant. Drug may be the preceding crime that gets me the warrant and leads me to other evidence, but I don't have to be looking for drugs. All right. Good Luck America was a cop. Facts. No? Who's this Wilford kid? Is he idiot? I put no shit. You mean my website, what my bio posted was true? Wow, you should be a detective. Rick, why are you being mean to him? Whatever. Sometimes he's freaking out. Sorry, Rick. This is the first time I email. I totally disagree with you. All right. He had his hands up asking for a warrant. They still haven't provided one, and they may not. I can have a warrant what's called sealed, meaning when I do a warrant for your phone and your texts and your emails and all your shit in your phone, the provider is legally authorized that he has to tell you when I serve that warrant. So every warrant I do for that, it's usually so I can gather evidence. So I don't, most of the times that I was doing it was for child abduction. So I didn't want to tip them off that what I knew and what I did. So I would seal the warrant. Called a hob sealing. I put a hob sealing on it, and the phone company could not tell you. And I'd usually sell it for 90 or 100 or 108 days. I think it's 90 days. I had to renew it. After 90 days, you have to renew the sealing if the investigation is still going on. But the court figures after 90 days, you should be able to sum up your investigation. So you don't get notified when somebody gets. If I serve a warrant on you, even though the law requires you to get a copy of the warrant, you don't get it. Rick, you're a big bootleg. It's the law. People don't get mad at me because I tell you. All right. Love the channel. No need to punch a guy in the face. If he did it, some of the background that LL included would be nice, but wouldn't change the facts. I don't know what he's talking about. But they didn't have a search warrant. See, again, a conclusion with no facts. Rick, while I usually agree with your analysis, I cannot agree with you on this topic because the officers had a warrant for the business and they had a legal right to enter the mobile dwelling. Man, this guy sounds like an attorney. He really knows what he's talking about. That was adjacent to the property. The logic makes no sense. Oh, because government and laws always make sense, right? Is that your point? I'm not being mean to Alty. I'm just kind of being sarcastic because it's like, really? You think laws and government make sense and is logical? I mean, you just kind of made my own point there. Performing a security sweep is okay. It's not only okay, it's absolutely acceptable. But they had no legal right to member the home. How can they do a security sweep when you got bodies in a mobile home? How do you know there wasn't? How do you know this company? You have no idea of the warrant. You haven't read the probable cause statement. You don't know any facts at all. How do you know in a warrant that, hey, this guy usually has a security team sleeping in a parking lot in vehicles? How do you know that? Rick, that wouldn't be. You don't know. I don't think that was in the warrant. But you just don't want to set yourself up that, well, I don't really want to search vehicles. If there's people in there, they're probably good guys. They probably won't do anything, and they're probably not involved. Dude, if that's your way of thinking, you're a shitty detective. And you would not solve a lot of cases. There'd be a lot of crooks that would love you to be a detective. Rick, why are you being mean to him? I'm not. Let's see. Supposedly a search warrant. All right. But there is no search. Okay. Once they get him out of the vehicle, it's all over. What was the reason for pulling everybody? I told you, protective sweep. You don't want people running around in an unsecure area while you're searching. Anyone that turns the body cam off destroys evidence. I agree. I think cops who turn off body cams, delace, hide, cover, do things, I absolutely think it ought to be a crime. But they have immunity. They're not going to get sued, and they know that. And they're not going to get charged by the DA, which is almost like criminal immunity. So, whatever. I learned a new word today, curtilage. I'm usually ahead of everybody's vocabulary. I'm not bragging. That's just a quirk. You can use force to enter a place that you are lawfully allowed to enter. Correct. You can. When I have a search warrant, if I'm making an arrest, I can use force to enter that place. Sorry. Hell, even you as a citizen. If you're chasing somebody as a citizen, not as a cop, you're chasing somebody, walks in a store, shoots a guy in the head, you fight him, he drops his gun, he runs off. As he's running, you're chasing him. He runs into some apartment, shuts the door. You, as a pesky citizen, is allowed to kick that door off his freaking hinges, follow him in, and arrest him. Rick, you can't say each state is different on their arrest, but I'm telling you, that's the case in most states. If you're chasing a felon, you can use force, break a window, use whatever force is necessary to effect or hold that arrest. Sorry. Especially if that person is a danger to the public and is going to hurt people. Do you think if a guy's trying to abduct a kid, you're like, I can't touch you, man, because I don't want to use force, and you really shouldn't grab that kid by the hair and drag her into that car, and you really shouldn't drive away, but I don't want to do anything. I don't want to use force because, I'd be a bootleg cop. So bye-bye, kid. Hope I don't see you on the news tomorrow after he freaking raped you and killed. Are you kidding me? I mean, where do you people come from? Rick, they come to your channel. Whatever. Freaking crazy people. Even if you're undercover, somebody asks for your badge and identity, you're not an officer, don't have to give them the number because you're a police. You're now in violation of law. Really? What law? What law, Smokey the Bear? What law says I have to? Most agencies require their officers to give ID, but I don't know of any law that states it. And even if there is a law, if I'm working undercover and somebody asks me, see, there was a misconception a long time ago that if you ask an undercover cop if he's a cop, by law, he has to tell you. We love that. We used to tell the crooks that's true. Yeah, undercover cops can't lie. If you ask them if they're a cop, they got to tell you. We would promote that rumor everywhere. And these idiots run around committing crimes to all our undercover guys because they go, man, I asked you if you were a cop and you got to tell me it's the law. And I go, well, that's because you're an idiot. Well, last week you told me it was true. Well, that's because I lied to you. Well, you can't lie to me because Jerry, shut up, you freaking crybaby. You freaking crazy people out there. I can't tell you what form of government my brother was in. But under federal law, you have to show your ID number and showing that you're a police officer. If you don't, it's a jailable offense. Again, where's the law? If you know this, I really, it's so irritating to read people that come here and they write things out. And this is a pretty articulate little comment here, and it sounds like it's reasonable, and it sounds like it may be true. But if you can't back up what you're saying, then you just look like either a rambling idiot or people don't give you any credibility. I mean, that's my belief. You can write what you want. I don't care what you write. I mean, whatever. Yeah, they can ask Social Security. Doesn't mean you have to provide it. You don't. And then I put go to jail. And I know everybody's going to be like, man, that's fucked up. You're going to take them to jail. I'm just telling you. If I have a person and you give me your name as Jose Martinez Luis Ramirez, and I get 4,000 freaking hits on this name, and I go, dude, there's a whole bunch of these names, and 5 of them have warrants. I got to confirm that you're not one. If you give me your Social Security number, and I can tell that none of the warrants match, I can let you go. Fuck you, man. I know my rights, and I ain't got to give you my Social Security number. Now you get arrested because I don't know if it's you. I have probable cause to believe that it could be you. You get to go to jail, get fingerprinted. They get your Social Security number, and then they run you, and they go, this ain't the guy. I go, okay, go ahead and release him. I got immunity, no sweat. Okay? So you people that want to run around and think you're smart and know your rights, you end up losing the battle because you really don't know what the consequences are. It's like people in California go, I ain't signing that ticket, I ain't speeding. Well, then you go to jail because a ticket is a promise to appear. And if you don't promise to appear in court, then I can't release you. You committed a crime. A speeding ticket, you can't go to jail for a speeding ticket. You can go to jail for failure to sign to say you're going to show up. I think that's a bullshit law, too. I don't think you should have to sign a ticket. Cop sees you, he gets your ID, he runs your ID, he gives you a ticket. This must sign, must not sign, get out of the car, I'm going to arrest you if you don't sign. I always thought that was bullshit. I mean, I can't even remember if I might have arrested a couple smartasses for not signing, but, I mean, I didn't write that many tickets, but, I mean, whatever. All right, here we go. Thanks for separating fly shit from the pepper on this search warrant. You're saying because there is a warrant issued for the property that they have a right to search anything and everything on the property, including the bus. Correct. I am saying that. Question. If a search warrant was issued for the family's vehicle on the property, would that extend to the property? No, it would not. Unless I could connect it. If I said, this van, we've been following for 3 days and we watched several hand-to-hand trades of drug buys. We've arrested people after they left the van and we observed it and we caught drugs and they admitted that they bought drugs from that place and that's their supplier. And we follow this car for 4 days and we notice in those 4 days of following it, it always parks at the structure and people in this van go in and out of the structure. And we think that they're either bringing money, concealing evidence, or fruits of the crime. And since they have access to the building, we want to search the car and the building they're going into. Then you could do that. But if this car is just parked and I'm like, I think it's a drug house, I saw people come in, I get a warrant for that car, I cannot search the parking lot or the building. Again, most answers are it depends. All right. By the way, if I cause trouble with the comment, oh, no sweat that. I don't give a shit about that. The warrant was allegedly for a specific business in a strip mall. They can't search every business and car in a strip mall. Rick, where is the limit when searching a multi-tenant commercial building like this? The limit would be in the warrant. And remember, did they search it? Again, we're using these terms, search. They didn't search the van for evidence. They searched it for a protective sweep to remove people to make sure they were working in a safe environment. It's different. I know it's not different to the people that had guns screwed in their face, but that's the difference. All right. And no, they cannot search the whole thing. If I can connect all the other businesses, I could. It depends on what the warrant says. If I can connect the parking lot. If I can say we've had the parking lot under surveillance for 2 weeks and there's 7 different cars parked in 7 different areas of this parking lot, and every night they move cars and they go in and out of the business and that business is located, blah, and I connect all that, then I could search every car in the parking lot. It depends. All right. You can always use force to enter a place where you're legally allowed to be. And the guy puts question mark. That is correct. I did say that and I stand by that. Real question, Rick. Isn't the man of a house legally allowed to enter? Isn't the man of the house legally allowed to enter too? Why couldn't he return force? All right. I'm not sure the question isn't real clear here. It sounds like Isn't the man of the house legally to enter? No, actually, he isn't allowed to enter. If I serve a search warrant at your house and you're not there, and you come up while we're serving that warrant, no, you cannot enter the house. Rick, you don't know what you're talking about. The law says that's my house, and I got you ain't. If I'm serving a search warrant, I got the place locked down and secured, and you come up, hey man, I live here, get the fuck out of the way. I'm like, dude, if you come in here and you cross this freaking line, you're going to be arrested. I'll talk to you, but if you try to pass this line, you're going to jail. I'm sorry. Fuck you, man. It's my motherfucking house and I know my rights. Okay. Well, you can know them all the way to fucking jail. I mean, it depends, people. You do not, again, you may think I'm a bootleg, but I worked within the law and I worked within the rules. And I was rarely, only once did I lose evidence, and the court was wrong. And the DA knew he was wrong because the DA fucked up and he goes, man, we can appeal this. We'll get this in. Judge doesn't know. And I go, I don't give a fuck. He goes, well, if you don't care, then I won't appeal it. I go, I don't give a fuck. So they threw out some evidence. They threw out some dope bust and bullshit traffic stop or whatever. I tell the story on one of my crazy cop stories. That's the only time I've ever got turned on. I've done several hundred warrants and assisted in several hundred more, and I've never gotten overturned. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world. I know everything. I think I'm pretty good at what I did, and I knew the law fairly reasonable. All right, I'm a female, but if I'm going to buy a I'm going to go buy a clerical collar in case the cops pull me over. I thought that was funny that he did that. Okay, dude, thank you. We were hoping you would do this. I won't bug you with I know 1,000 others. They didn't show the warrant to the people. These people are right. No, they don't. You only have a right to see the warrant if I'm serving the warrant on you. You do not. If you're at a house, you're at a turkey dinner, and you go to your buddy's house, and I serve a search warrant on his house, and he's the target of the search warrant, you do not have a right to see the warrant. Those people in that van did not have a right to see the warrant. I'm sorry. They can file and get a copy. Warrants are public record. You can file and get a copy of it, but they did not require, the cops are not required to give them or show them the warrant. Sorry. I hate to burst your bubble. I hate when I burst all these internet lawyers' bubbles, but that's the way it is. Let's see. All right, I think that's it. That is it. 50 minutes. Holy shit. All right. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm pro freedom, people. Don't come here. I mean, you can come here and tell me I'm a cop lover and all. I always get that shit when I take the cop sides. Meanwhile, while I'm hitting the cops, I got all these cops coming here. Oh, man, you're making it worse. You're trying to get us killed. You just hate cops. Whatever. All right. Y'all have a good one. We'll end that there.